Good evening, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start also by recognizing Mheshimiwa Mohamed Elmi, the Chief Administrative Secretary of the Ministry of Environment, and also recognize all members of Parliament who are present here, ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We also recognize my colleagues from the African Development Bank, Dr. James Kinyangi, my colleagues from the African Climate Policy Center, and colleagues from the Africa Union Commission, who are also part of this partnership. I think it is in order, ladies and gentlemen, for us to first appreciate PACJA under the leadership of the board and the directorship of our colleague Mr. Mwenda for putting together this noble effort of supporting African journalism on environment and climate change. Please let us give PACJA a big round of applause. Secondly, I would like to recognize all the journalists who entered into the awards. There were those who won awards, there were those whose stories were not selected, but I think we need to recognize all of them. They are all winners. Let us give them a big round of applause. But beyond applauding the journalists for the work that they are doing, I would also like to continue where Mitsika left. I want to give them a challenge. I want to ask this question: whose story are they telling? Is it the story of us as Africa, or is it someone else's story? I learned, ladies and gentlemen, only recently that the word environment came into the English language less than 50 years ago. Environment. Now I want to ask each one of us what we call environment in our own language. Let me do this by region. I'll start with my own region, Southern Africa. Can someone from Southern Africa tell me, in your own language from that region, what environment is? I was sitting with colleagues from Zimbabwe at that table. Since I understand the languages of Zimbabwe, can someone from Zimbabwe tell me what we call environment? We don't have a word for environment. Let us be honest here. What about colleagues from West Africa? Do you have a word for environment? So we could go on and on. We don't, in fact, translate, like Mitsika says, these issues into our own language. Now there's climate change. Let's just talk about climate. Start with Zimbabwe again. What do we call climate? Do we have a word for climate? No, we don't. East Africa, Swahili, climate. So whose story are we telling? This is a big issue. We were discussing the IPCC report the other day, and we pointed out that the bulk of the science that is written in the IPCC is written by scientists from other regions. So whose science is it? Is it an African science? To what extent does it represent Africa? So we should ask the same question of our journalists. We really need to tell our own story in our own language, and we need to ensure that the media is representing the experiences of Africa and of Africans. So as we congratulate you, let us also challenge you to think about how you can tell our story, how you can develop ways of telling the African story. Now, so let me finish by telling a story of my own. This is a story that I was told by one of my mentors. It's also a story about the environment. So he told me that there was once a big forest, massive forest. Then one day something happened in this forest. There was a fire, a big fire. This was a forest full of animals, all of the animals that you can imagine. But this fire was so big that the only thing that all these animals could do was run to the river at the edge of the forest. The elephants, the lions, the hippos, the rhinos, all the big animals, the snakes, the small animals. But there was a bird, a small bird. When they got to the edge of the river, this bird started diving into the water and flying over the fire. You did this once, twice, all the other animals are watching. 3 times, 4 times. And then the elephant decided to call this little bird. It asked the bird, little bird, just what do you think you are doing? And the little bird replied, I am doing my best. So our journalists, I would like to leave you with this word. Whatever big the challenge is, I want you to think about doing your best. No challenge is too big. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.